Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayemi. Zevachim Daf Chavdal. We begin 3 lines off the top of the Amid. Oimed, Al Gabi Kalim, Al Gabi Behemo, Al Gabi Ragli Chavero. In all these situations, if the Kohen does not stand directly on the floor of the Beis HaMikdash, rather, he stands on a kli, on an animal, on his friend's foot, while doing the avodah is disqualified, pasal. So this is an additional point to yesterday's discussion, where we learned that the Kohen has to be standing. Lamoy de Lushor is standing while he serves Hashem in the Beis HaMikdash. Furthermore, says the Gemara today, he must be standing directly on the floor, without any barrier between himself and the floor. As we know, they would walk barefoot. So it was a direct contact, without anything in between. Minolan, how do we know this is required? The Talmud Bavli, as we learned, Hoil v'ritzpa mikudeshes, Rashi learns mikudeshes, the floor of the Beis HaMikdash had been sanctified. Rashi explains that HaMelech conducted a whole ceremony with 2 breads of the Toida Karban, with a shir, singing. It was a whole ceremony to be mekadosh the floor of the Beis HaMikdash. And likewise, uklei shoris mikudashim, the holy vessels were sanctified as well. How did that happen? Rashi brings the pasuk, vayim shachim, vayikadesh oisam. They would anoint the kelim with the special shemen hamishcha, and that would sanctify it. So we compare the Kohen's interaction with the floor of the Beis HaMikdash must be similar to the way he interacts with the klei sharis. Ma klei sharis, just like by the klei sharis. There must be direct contact when the Kohen handles the kli. Lo yehei davar choitis. There can't be anything in between. Between the Kohen's hand, lebein klei sharis, to the kli. Rashi brings a pasuk. V'lo kach hakohen. We learn shetei lekicha ba'atz meishal kohen. You must grip the actual kli directly, without anything in between. Afritzba, likewise, the floor of the Beis HaMikdash upon which he stands, lo yehei davar chaytzis. There can't be any item between himself and the floor. Chaytzis beinoi, between the kohen, lebein haritzba. Now, why did the Mishnah have to itemize all these 3 examples of chatzitza, which invalidates his service? Standing on a kli, on an animal, on his friend's foot, each one has a special lesson. The yashminan kli. Had we only discussed the case of the kli, mishum delav mina de basar nina, because a kli is a different type of material than his skin. Perhaps that poses a chatzitza. Aval behema, but an animal, which is more or less similar to his foot material, the Kohen's foot material, the mina de basar, it's the same type of material, more or less. Emalei, perhaps that doesn't pose a problem. Yashmina behema. Furthermore, if we discuss only the behema and not standing on his friend's foot, I would say the lav mina de adamu, because an animal's material is different than a person's material. Aval chaveirav, if he stands on his colleague's foot, the adamu, who's a person just like himself, emalei, perhaps it doesn't pose a problem tzricha. That's why the Mishnah has to highlight all 3 cases. I recall as a kid, we were davening Shemona Esrei, and in a joking manner, I was standing on my uncle was standing nearby, and I put my foot on his, and he turned to me. He said he knew his stuff. He says, you can't do that. It's a chatzitza. When you daven, you have to stand on the floor like when the Kohen does the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash. You can't stand on your friend's foot. So all 3 would in fact pose a chatzitza concern. Here comes some interesting variations of this halacha in terms of how far and how direct the standing on the floor has to be. Tanya, Rav Lezer Oimen, raglei achas ala kli. Suppose one foot is on a kli, v'raglei achas ala ritzba, and the second foot is directly on the floor. Or raglei achas ala even, one foot is resting on just a loose stone, a stone sitting on the floor. V'raglei achas ala ritzba, and the second foot is directly on the floor. So one foot is okay, one foot is not. What happens? Well, it depends. Right, we evaluate. Kol shi'ilu yinatel hakli. Imagine removing the kli, removing the thing that he's resting his other foot on. Or if it's yinatel even, it takes away that stone. Can he still stand on his remaining foot? Yochel lamed al raglei achas. If you can do that via Avid and serve, yes, Avid does a kshera. So if that 1 foot that's resting directly on the floor can support him properly, fine. But otherwise, if he requires a 2nd foot to keep him standing, so there's a chatzitza concern about this absurd, then it's possible. So one of the stones, one of the floor tiles in the Azara, loosened, got loose. And he stood upon that stone. Technically, it's part of the floor, but it's no longer really connected. It's wobbly. What is the halach? Now, if they have no intention of reattaching and fixing it, there's no question. Certainly, there's a chatzitza there because it's no longer part of the floor configuration. The question can be posed in the case of the the caretaker of the Beis Hamikdash put it on his to-do list. He plans on fixing it. How should we view this? The kohen was standing on that wobbly tile. On the one hand, given the data l'chaber, since the plan is to connect it, let's imagine it connected. Let's view it as though it's connected. It's part of the ground, part of the floor. Or then what you can say, hashtamiyah. Fact is, currently speaking, hatlisha. It's not really connected. It's disconnected. So that's a question. Rabba Zuti, that was his name, Boila Hachi. He posed this question in a different variation, a different version. Boy Rabbi Ami. Nekra Evan, V'abad B'mkleimamal. Suppose the tile was totally removed. So all around you have tiles, but in this spot, you only have the subfloor. The kohen decided to stand right there, on that spot. Does it count or not? So what's the question about? Well, what are the considerations? On the one hand, Ki Kaddish David, as we learned, David HaMelech was Mekadosh, Ritzpah, the floor, perhaps only Ritzpah Yain Kaddish, only the upper floor, the one that's visible, it's meant to be used. But at the subfloor, then what you can say, Adla Aris the Tahim Kaddish, his Kedusha, spread all the way down into the depths of the floor, all the way down. And it covers even the subfloor. Asks the Gemara, so why focus on a single spot with a missing tile? The same question could be posed regarding the entire Azara. Suppose they removed all the tiles, all the floor stones for renovations, and all you have is a subfloor. Does it work or not? Well, says the Gemara, the reason why he didn't ask about Kol Azara Kula because it was clear to him Dad Aris the Tahim Kaddish, that in fact the Kedusha extended all the way down into the subfloor and beyond. There's no question. Should they remove all the surface tiles, you can still serve properly. The question pertains specifically to this case, where the rest of the floor is still there, still intact, but there's just one spot missing. The question was, shall we say, it's considered derech sherus bekach. It's considered an acceptable mode of service, standing in that little hole, in which case it's okay. Or it's not a respectful, it's not a proper way to serve standing in this little hole in the ground. In which case it doesn't work. Teku, we leave it unresolved. Okay, the kohen must stand directly on the floor without any barriers, any chatzitzes, whether animals, kalim, people. And regarding wobbly stones and missing stones, we had all kinds of questions. Kibel b'smal puzzle, v'Rabbi Shimon machshir. Let's move on to the last halacha in the Mishnah, left hand. So the kohen is meant to use his right hand. Right hand corresponds to Hashem's midas hachesed, right? Chesed is yamin, which the carbon is meant to engender favor and goodwill from Hashem. To mechaper karbanos, to bring bracha. He's meant to use his right hand. If he does Kabbalah, collects the blood with his left hand, it's possible. According to Reb Shimon, it's okay. Let's see why. Tana Rabbanan. So we begin with a pasuk. Pasuk by Dikarban Chatas, which reads like this. V'lokach HaKohen, which means Kabbalah, right? He receives the blood into the container. Midam Chatas, and then it says Bi'etz Boy with his finger. which, as we're going to see later, whenever it says etzba in the Torah, it means his right, the finger of his right hand, right? And then it continues, v'nasan al karnes mizbach ha'olah. He applies the blood of the chatas on the mizbeach. So on the right side of the word etzba we have v'lokach hakohen. Pasuk begins describing the Kabbalah. At the end we have v'nasan al karnes, application of the blood, like the hazah by the chatas is called nasinas ha'adam. They don't actually spritz it, they apply it manually. In the middle we have the word be'etzboi. The question is, the word be'etzboi, which denotes right hand, is it going back on the Kabbalah, stated prior to the word be'etzboi, or going forward on the nesina of the dam? And the machlokes, now a Mishnah, will revolve around how to learn this pasuk, which will influence the halacha of Yamin by Kabbalah. Depends whether, in fact, etzba applies back to Kabbalah as well or not. Tanarabon be'etzba v'lokach. So, according to this brayso, we do attach the word etzba back to v'lokach, to the act of Kabbalah Malama, to teach us. Shaloi take Kabbalah b'yamin. The Kabbalah has to be with his right hand. Furthermore, be'etzba v'nasan, going forward in the pasuk Malamed, this teaches us shaloi take nesino b'yamin. The nesina of the blood has to be with his right hand. According to Chachamim, Tanakama, the Yamin requirement applies both to Kabbalah and Nesina Satam. Amr Reb Shimon, hold it. Why by Kabbalah? Where do we have the word yad? Soon we're going to see why is he focusing on the word yad. But in any case, it would seem that according to Reb Shimon, if it would say the word yad, it would mean the right hand. But etzba doesn't mean the right hand. That's what it sounds like he's saying, right? Where does it say the word yad by Kabbalah, which would indicate right hand? Ela be'etzba v'nasan. It merely says be'etzba v'nasan. Okay, so Nesina, I agree, it has to be with his right hand. Shaloite Nesina will be Yamin, but not Kabbalah. We don't find the word yad related to Kabbalah. In which case, I hold kibeb a small kosher. If he collects the dam with his left, it's okay. Ask the Gemara, hold it. It seems to say only yad indicates the right hand, but not etzba. But Reb Shimon manavshach. We're not understanding. Where is he coming from? Is like Gzera Shava. Because later on we have a Gzera Shava, which connects. That whenever we have the word yad in the Torah, it means the right hand, just like by Mitzvah, that the yad is the right hand. So if he subscribes to that source, that Gzera Shava, that the word yad indicates the right hand, well, guess what? In that same Gzera Shava, we also learned that etzba means the right hand. So how can you differentiate between the word yad and the word etzba? But Reb Shimon manavshach is like Gzera Shava. If he holds of that source, like Gzera Shava, kilo nemer yad b'Kabbalah mayhavi. So even without the word yad by Kabbalah, who cares? The fact is, we have the word etzba over here by the Kabbalah, which we learn from Mitzvah to mean the right hand. On the other hand, be less like Gzera Shava, if in fact it doesn't adopt that Gzera Shava, does not learn right from Mitzvah. So why is Reb Shimon saying, the reason why you don't need it right because it doesn't say yad, which almost sounds like, if it would say yad, I would agree it's the right hand, but how do you know yad means right, if not from Mitzvah? You don't hold of that drush. Even if it would say the word yad by receiving of the blood, mayhavi, why would that help us? Amar Vida, lo'elam less like Gzera Shava. You're right, he doesn't hold of that Gzera Shava. And all he meant to say was, look, V'chika Amar, you're insisting Kabbalah with his right hand? V'chinemar yad yeminis b'Kabbalah? Does the Torah then specify right hand? It doesn't say right hand regarding collection of the blood. Since the Torah doesn't specify right hand, doesn't name it by name, Kiva with small kosher. That's why Kabbalah with his left is okay. Amalei Rav, as Rav responds. Okay, I understand. Granted, there's no Gzera Shava. Unless the Torah spells it out, it's got to be the right hand. You don't have to have the right hand. So that's why Kabbalah is kosher b'small. But even Reb Shimon agreed a minute ago that regarding the Sinas Adam, you need the right hand. Why? Does the Torah then specify right hand regarding Nesina? Void furthermore. You're telling me, according to Reb Shimon, there's no Gzera Shava? V'chilesle, Reb Shimon Gzera Shava. He doesn't hold the Gzera Shava? V'atanya. Listen to this brisa. Reb Shimon himself seems to abide by the Gzera Shava. Reb Shimon Oimer, Kol Makom Shenamar Yad, Ein El Yamin. Oh, Reb Shimon himself states that as a fact. The word Yad indicates the right hand. Etzba, the word Etzba likewise. Ein El Yamin indicates the right hand. Apparently he's going with Gzera Shava. That Etzba, that Yamin means the right hand. Elam Rava says, well, I'll explain to you what he meant to say. Of course he holds Gzera Shava. The word Yad would mean the right hand. Likewise, the word Etzba. Here it's different. Here, it's clear that it's not referring back to the Kabbalah. The word Etzba in the Torah is not referring back to Kabbalah. Why? He meant to say like this. How does one do Kabbalah? Could you do it with a finger? Impossible. You don't hold it. You don't hold the kli with your hand, with your full hand. And there's no mention of hand in this pasuk. All you have is the word Etzba, which is obviously not going back on Kabbalah, which was stated before the word Etzba. Apparently, it's only going on application of the blood, which in fact is done with a finger. So it's physically unfeasible to have Kabbalah accomplished with a finger. Apparently, the Torah is not referring back to Kabbalah with the word Etzba. That frees us, that allows us to perform Kabbalah with your left hand as well. The Torah should have really used the word Yad, describing this extensive, avodah kol Kabbalah. You need your hands. It doesn't say that. Since there's no mention of the word Yad over here by the Kabbalah. Ella, rather the word Etzba, you can't collect a full kli of blood with your finger. So basically, the word Etzba is not going back on Kabbalah. In which case, Kibul B'Smoil is kosher. Amalei Rav Sama Breder of Ashik Ravina. You're looking for a practical solution? Efshar the Avadli Oizen L'sfas Mizrak U'Mekawba. Yeah, you can work it out with a finger. Take the Mizrak, which was a container, fashion like a little lip or some sort of handle through which you can stick your finger, balance it like that, and do the Kabbalah. It's physically possible. So what's the problem? Elam Abaye. So the Abaye explained to you the point of Machlekes here. So again, according to Rabbanan, both the Kabbalah and the Nesinas Adam must be with his right hand. According to Reb Shimon, the Nesina, but not the Kabbalah. So he says it's about how to interpret a pasuk. As explained earlier, we have this pasuk which begins which is collection of blood. It continues later with v'nosan al karnas mizbeach, application of blood on the mizbeach. In the middle we have the word be'etzboy. The word be'etzboy, is it going backwards on the Kabbalah? Is it going forward on the Zrika? On both? That's the machlekes. Chacham say it's going back on Kabbalah and forward on the Nesina. It's covering both directions. Rav Shimon says no. It's only going forward, but not going back on the Kabbalah stated before the word be'etzboy. And this is a general machlekes that we find elsewhere in Shas in terms of how to, interpret the psukim. B'mikra, regarding a pasuk, the word be'etzboy in this case, nidrash, is it applied lefanav? To the item mentioned prior, ula achrav, and to the item mentioned afterwards. That's the machlekes. Rabbanan say it goes in both directions. So the word be'etzboy is multi-directional, covering Kabbalah and Nesina. Reb Shimon says it only goes forward regarding Nesina, not Kabbalah. Amar Abaye. There's a third shita as well. Rabbi Elazar, who's the son of Reb Shimon, he holds that the pasuk is applied only going back and not forward. In which case it only applies to the Kabbalah and not to the Nesina. Just the opposite of his father. Amar Abaye, Hadar Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. This opinion coming up. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Reb Shimon, mapka medyavo. It undoes. It sort of disputes his father's position, umapkum the Rabbanon, and also disagrees with the Rabbanon. The Sanya, as we have in a Bryce, so in this pasuk that we just described, the word etzba actually relates only to the Kabbalah, which is stated prior to the word be'etzba, and therefore shina b'Kabbalah pasul. If he deviated, if he uses his left hand with Kabbalah, it's pasul. But ironically, b'nesina, if he uses his left hand to apply the blood, it's kosher, because the word etzba is not relating going forward to the nesina. But there's actually another case Rashi brings. It's the power of the miluim in the midbar, where the tables have turned. There, the pasuk relates only to the nesina and not to the Kabbalah. In a case where you have shenemar, the word etzba is connected b'nesina to the application of the blood. So in that case, it would be just the opposite. Shina b'nesina pasal. If he deviated, i.e., used his left hand regarding application, it's possible, but Kabbalah kosher, but left hand regarding Kabbalah is okay. So what's that example? Where's the pasuk where etzba relates to the nesina only? The siv. That's the pasuk by the Meluim. It says l'kachna apar, which is the Kabbalah. But asat al karnis hamizbeach, apply the blood on the mizbeach, and then be'etzba'ech. And the word be'etzba'ech, according to this opinion, relates back only to the item immediately preceding the word be'etzba'ech. Because Sava, so he holds mikra, the pasuk, the word be'etzba'ech, which denotes right. Nidrish lafanav v'lo lefnei fanav. Ula'ach relates back to the item mentioned immediately prior, which is nesinas adam. V'lo lefnei fanav, it doesn't go back 2 steps back to the Kabbalah, nor does it go v'lo la'achrav, nor to the item which would be stated afterwards. So basically, the halacha of Yamin in this case, in this carbon, only relates to the nesina of the blood and nothing else. Okay, so in conclusion, we have 3 shittas regarding Yamin. Rabbanan say Kabbalah and nesina and zrika. Reb Shimon says only nesina sadam, not Kabbalah. Reb Lezer Shimon says, well, it depends on the case. Typically, it's Kabbalah and not nesina. But Amiluim is just the opposite. Says the Gemara, Omar Rabba bar Chana or Beicha. Furthermore, on this topic of the right hand, requirement, Kol Makim Shenemar Etzba Ukahuna. Wherever we find these 2 phrases, these 2 terms, Etzba and Kahuna, regarding karbanis, you should know Eina Elo Yamin. It requires the right hand. Because at this point we figured Tar Tibaina. You need both expressions. For example, you have which is exactly the pasuk we discussed earlier, which contains the word kayin and etzba. So how do we know that in fact these 2 words, kayin and etzba, denote the right hand? Oh, we go to Mitzera, our source. Where it says v'taval kayin es etzba yimanis. The Kohen dips in his right finger. So we have the word Kohen. We have the word Etzba. And Torah explains, guess what? It means the right. Hence we know that Kohen and Etzba combination indicate the right. Asks the Gemara, really? You need both to indicate the right? Very Kemitza. What about scooping out the Kemitza off the Mincha? Like Siv Ba'el Kuhuna. There, all you have is the word koyin. It doesn't say finger, doesn't say, right? It just says v'kamatz ha-koyin. And still we learn, Utnan, we learned in the Mishnah, it must be with his right hand. Kamatz b'smol, he used his left, pasul. Elam Rava says, Rava, you're right. One or the other. Oy etzba, oy kuhuna. Either the word etzba or the word kuhuna, or any variation of koyin, would allow you to connect to the Metzora, that it must be with his right. I'll give you an example. The avodah of transporting the limbs of the carbon over to the ramp of the Mizbeach, where it says kayin, right? That's a koyel v'ikdam Mizbeach. We learned it's going on this job, this role. So despite the mentioning of the word kohen, take a look at the Mishnah, Tanan, it says, how did he carry it? So this was the kohen who would carry the head of the animal and the right foot of the animal. Inevitably, he had to use one in his right hand, one in his left hand. But Tanan Haregel Sheyamin, the right foot of the animal, Bismoilai, was resting on the left hand of the kohen, so the leg had, one side was severed. And that severed, side, which is a bit unsightly, would face the kohen, be blocked by the kohen, and the smooth side of the leg would be, the flayed part, the smooth side would be exposed. But in any case, clearly he's using his left hand to transport the korban to the mizbeach, despite the word hakohen. So you see, hakohen doesn't necessarily mean right hand. Well, says the Mokiyamrin, when we said that in fact, etzba yekahuna, the word etzba or kahuna denote right hand only, that's limited to bedavar hamakiv kapara. When he's involved in an activity which is critical to the success of the korban, doing the mitzvah, similar to the mitzvah, where what they're doing there is critical to the process of his, purification. But otherwise, if it's just hilachas yivarim, since it's not, as important as it is, but if it's not done, the korban is still success, still kosher. So in this case, we can't learn from the mitzvah, and therefore right hand is not critical. Asks the Gemara about Kabbalah, what about collection of the blood? The Sibu Kuhuna, where it says the word kohen. Right, it says V'ikrivu b'nei Aaron ha'kehanim sadam. And it certainly is vital to the process. V'davar ha'ma'akev b'kapara hu utnan. And we still have a Mishnah, just learned, that according to Reb Shimon, Kabbalah is okay with his left hand. So Tanakama says, Kibul b'smoil is pos, but Reb Shimon Machshir says, okay. How? It says kohen. Says the Gemara, it's only the Rabbanon who say one or the other is enough. Either kohen or etzba indicate right. But according to Reb Shimon tarti boy. According to Reb Shimon, he disagrees. He says, in order to obligate Yemin, you have to have both expressions, etzba and kahuna. Just like the mitzvah has to correspond to the mitzvah where it says both. And therefore he says by Kabbalah. Sure, it says kohen, doesn't say etzba. As we explained before, the word etzba doesn't relate back to Kabbalah. So we're left with only one expression of kohen. You don't need the yamin. Tarti boy. Really? Says the Gemara, mi boy Reb Shimon. Tarti. Really? Reb Shimon requires both expressions to obligate right hand? Vatanya, we have a brayso. Reb Shimon oimakol makom shnamar yad ein el yamin. Shimon himself states it as a fact. The word yad in the Torah means the right hand. The word etzba as well, and el yamin, the right. So clearly, he doesn't need both expressions. Says the Gemara, etzba labai kuhuna, kuhuna bay etzba. The word etzba would suffice without kohen. But the word kohen on its own would not be sufficient. Okay, so the word kohen is a generic term; it doesn't denote specifically. But yeah, etzba, likewise, the word yad would mean the right hand, and therefore, by the Kabbalah, all you have is kohen, so it's not limited to the right hand. But otherwise, in places where it says etzba or yad, it certainly would mean the right hand only. As we learned from Mitzvah, we'll see soon from a Gzera Shava that yad means the right, etzba means, etc. Says the Gemara, V'la kohen lamli. So according to Reb Shimon, the word kohen doesn't mean right hand, unless it has the word etzba with it. So what's the purpose of a Torah writing the word kohen in cases where it's not, Yibin is not required? The answer is b'kihunai, to tell you that the kohen has to be dressed like a kohen with bigdei sharis, otherwise it doesn't qualify. Says the Gemara very zrik, another question. The mitzvah of spraying the blood on the mizbeach, all you have is the word kohen. Utnan, the Mishnah says, it must be done with his right hand. Zorak b'smal pasal. If he did the zrika with his left hand, it's possible to plug Reb Shimon. We don't find Reb Shimon disagrees. He should disagree because kuna doesn't mean right. Amar Abaye, he says, Abaye, you're right. Look further. There's a brisa. Palag with brisa. And the brisa he disagrees. Asadya, as the brisa says, he disagrees on both accounts. You can use your left for Kabbalah and for zrika, because all you have there is kain and nothing more. The sani kibbutz b'smal is pasal. It's our shita. Reb Shimon says it's okay, machshir. Likewise, zorak b'smal pasal. Reb Shimon machshir. Likewise, he does his zrika with his left hand. We say it's pasal. Reb Shimon says it's okay. So that is in line with the way we understand Reb Shimon's shita. So again, according to Shitas Rabbanan, we have the pasal by Metzora, v'taval ha'koyin hezboy hayemanis. We learn wherever in the Torah it says koyin or etzba, it means Yemanis, just like the Metzora. Hashem makes a split. He says, look, the word koyin itself wouldn't indicate. Yeah, it says etzba, you know it's the right hand. And even according to us, it only applies to things which are ma'akiv kapara, as opposed to halacha sevarim lekevesh, which can be done with his left hand. One more kasha. Says the Gemara. Okay, let's go back to the prevalent, shitas chachamim. Wherever it says the word etzba or kahuna, it means the right. But why do we need another source for the same thing? Elahada Amar Rava. Rava tells us that by Metzora, where they apply the oil on his earlobe, his right earlobe, his right thumb, his right toe thumb as well. And then the question there is why the Torah has to repeat it, the extra psukim there. So we learn from there something about right. That just like the earlobe there is the right earlobe, likewise elsewhere in the Torah we speak about an ear, such as drilling the ear of the slave who wants to stay on longer. Which ear? The right ear. We learn just like the thumb there by the Torah is the right hand thumb. Likewise, elsewhere in the Torah we have the word yad, like by kmitza, right hand only. And finally, regel, his right foot. Just like by the Torah is the right foot. Likewise, elsewhere in the Torah we have something to do with the foot. A mitzvah which is done regarding regel, like chalitza, right? Removing of the shoe after the woman's husband died without kids. So that has to be done off his right foot. Yad lekmitza. We learn yad elsewhere from the yad of Metzora. Right hand is required for yad, for kmitza. Regel chalitza. Chalitza has to be on his right foot, just like the right foot of the Metzora. Oizen the Ritzia. We know that they bore his right ear. That's learned from the word oizen by the Metzora, which is his right as well. Lamli, and the question is, why do we need? I'm going to focus on the first item, kmitza. Kmitza with his right, from this pasuk. We already know that. Midirabba bar chana nafka. Right? We began our sugi today. Rabbi Rachana tells us, etzba okuna means the right hand. So why do we need another pasuk that kaimetz is with his right? Right? It says the word kahuna by kaimetz. That should be sufficient. Why another source for the same halacha? So there were actually there are two aspects to the kaimetz. Chad lekaimetz. One source to tell you that the actual scooping is with his right hand. There's another point. You take that scoop and you insert it into a klisharis to upgrade it even further, to give it extra kedusha in preparation for burning on the mizbeach. And that's why we need another source. That the kiddush kaimetz as well must be done with the right hand of the kohen. Okay, says the Gemara. Now, one more question. Reb Shimon. Lo ba'y kiddush kaimetz. But interestingly, once again, Reb Shimon disagrees with a certain aspect of this process. He says, you don't need to be mekadesh the klisharis. Once you scooped it, once you mekadesh it like that, you don't have to, reinsert it in a kli and mekadesh it. So step 2 is not applicable according to Reb Shimon. So according to him, why do we have to learn from Metzora? What's there to learn from Metzora? You're not doing kiddush kaimetz. And And in fact, even according to the opinion, there are different ways of understanding Reb Shimon. Even those who learn that according to Reb Shimon, you have to actually put the kaimetz in a kli. But you don't need the right hand for that. Bismoil. You would allow even to do, if you do it with your left hand. So if that's the case, what's the point of connecting to Matzera, Yad, the rubber that rubber represent? What's the point of that source? Let's break down the options. Ila kmitza atzma. Okay, so it can't be kiddush kaimetz, because either you don't eat it at all, or you can do it with your left hand. What about the actual scoop, this kmitza itself? We have another source for that according to Reb Shimon, leaving this one unnecessary. Midrav Yehuda bread of Chia Nafka. We have a different source. We read the Rechia Torahs from a different pasuk. The act of kmitza must be done with his right hand. The Amar Yehuda bread of Rechia. My time with Reb Shimon. Where's Reb Shimon coming from? You can choose to take the kmitza directly on the mizbeach without a kli. The Amar Kra, the pasuk connects a mincha to two different karbanis, to allow for two different options of processing the mincha. The mincha is a kodesh kadashim, kachatos b'kashim, like a chatzah. What's the point of connecting to chatzah and ashim? Both options are available. You can follow two different tracks, two different systems. You can choose to do it manually. If he chooses to do it manually, take the kmitza manually to the mizbeach without a kli, or you can do it, but make sure you do it with your right hand. Like a chatas, which Rashi says, certainly there the blood has to be applied with his right hand, like we said before. We have a pasuk even according to Reb Shimon, because it says kuna and etzba. So in this sense, the mincha is like the chatas. You choose manual, do it with your right hand. And certainly the actual scooping itself certainly has to be done with his right hand. That's avodas hayad, that's manual avodah. So we already have a source that the act of kmitza has to be done with his right hand. On the other hand, if it chooses to use a kli to transport the kaimis to the mizbeach, sure. And that way you'll be following the asham method. You can transport it with your left hand, just like by the asham. They, spritz the blood from the kli from his left hand, that's fine. So bottom line is, we're all covered. The mincha is all covered. Regarding the act of kmitza, of course you need the right hand, like the chatas. Kiddush kaimetz, well, either you don't need it at all, if you need it, left hand is okay. So why do we need Rabba's connection to Metzora to tell you yad of kmitza is the right hand? Answer is, if it's a sinner's mincha that a person is bringing to me mechaper on a chet, what about the act of kmitza there? There would be room to think that it's different than a regular mincha. Why? Because we find that the Torah sets apart a mincha schayta from your standard mincha. Typically a mincha requires oil and lavoina, incense. Mincha schayta, bare bones, just flour. There's no oil. There's no extra, accessories. And Rav Shimon explains. Rav Shimon, throughout the Torah, throughout the Gemara, very often seeks to analyze, extrapolate from the reasoning behind the halachos and the mitzvahs. And likewise, Rav Shimon says, you know why a minchas chayte is bare? Perhaps I would think, Rav Shimon tells us, Torah doesn't want him to bring a beautiful, an enhanced mincha. Be happy with letting you through and, getting you accepting your mincha. Just bring it and don't be too proud of it. So perhaps regarding the act of kmitza, we treat it differently. It gets a downgrade. Ki kamas labismoil nami tiskasher. Even if the kmitza itself was done with his left hand, perhaps it works. Kamash mulan. No, that's why we need a new source. We learn from the word yad by me'etzera. Just like over there, it's the right hand, the act of kmitza. Universally, regardless of which mincha it is, even a mincha schayte. To stick to the regular program, right hand only. Okay, so in summation, we learned about the din of the kohen standing directly on the floor with any chatzitzos. We discussed the question of wobbly tiles and remove tiles, derech sheirus or not, teku. Regarding right hand, according to the Chachamim, we learn from the pasuk of Metzora, where it says kohen and etzba. We learn that either the word kohen or a variation of that word, or the word etzba, would indicate the right hand only. So that covers Kabbalah, that covers Zrika, that covers pretty much all the avodas. We did an extra Zereshava Yad from Metzora for the Kiddush Kaimes aspect of the Kmitza. So it's phase 2 where the Kaimes is put on the Kli. It has to be done with his right hand as well. And we learned this is only regarding things which are Me'akev Kapara, as opposed to transporting the Avarim to the Mizbech. Even though it says Kahuna, it's not Me'akev for it to be in his right hand. In fact, he would carry the regel of the animal in his left. That's Shittas Rabban, according to Reb Shimon. Kahuna itself would not suffice to indicate right. It has to be in conjunction with the word etzba. So etzba itself, yeah, but not kahuna. And that's why he says kibel b'smail is kosher. And even zarak b'smail is kosher. However, he agrees that kmitza ve'mincha, which is done manually, is compared to uchatas, where the zrika has to be done, which is right, because there it certainly says kayin and etzba. Regarding Kiddush Kaimetz, according to some, he doesn't require it. According to others, even if it's required, he can choose to do it in a Kli resting on his left hand. All the best to you, and Atzlacha Rabbah.